You are watching the number one podcast in the whole entire tourism community, and I'm one of your hosts, Juanzo.
And I'm your other host, John Paul Leek.
And together we are Rope Break. How's every single one of you, family? We hope that you're doing amazing. A day before Thanksgiving, John Paul. A lot of things to be thankful for. And, NXT, was it a good thing to be thankful for, John Paul? Or maybe?
Yeah, this week again was another show that not really too thankful for. Besides, some of the War Games build is looking pretty good. I'm excited for both those War Games matches, but just everything else on the card for War Games and on this show tonight, I really could care less about. We saw some returns and some matchups that I feel, should have felt more important, but when you have some asshole on commentary who sounds like he doesn't want to be there and takes all the excitement out of everything, that really killed the show as well. So just not a good episode of NXT.
It goes from to so.
Exactly.
Yeah, so what we have in the menu before we start, Jean Paul, family support us with this video. Absolutely amazing. Jean Paul Eck talking about Monday Night Raw. The Fiend never forgets. So still going after the Viper Randy Orton. And also a triple threat match announced for next week. Number one contender is going to be announced from that. AJ Styles, Riddle, and Keith Lee. Good show, I think. Not as great as 2 weeks ago, but at least good enough to watch. Right, Jean Paul?
Yeah, exactly. And, Drew McIntyre, we'll see who he's going to go against. Rumors Braun Strowman, even though he was suspended indefinitely. Obviously, it's a whole storyline, but we'll see, how that's going to shape out for TLC.
Absolutely, Jean Paul. So very quick, for the soccer fans that watch some, Copa Libertadores, round of 16, Liga going against Santos Futebol Clube. There you go, Jean Paul, practicing my Portuguese. Unfortunately, Liga lost. We're a little bit pissed off about that, but, just check, the goals, highlights, everything, and where is this going to go? Next Tuesday is the other match. It's going to be in Brazil, so let's see about that. And I just want to touch about something really quick, Jean Paul, and let me talk in first person for this one, One of my idols passed away today. So, Diego Armando Maradona, the person that got me into soccer, the person that made me fall in love with the game, passed away today. So I just have this great picture for all of you. But this is hyping up because on Friday, Rampage Soccer is going to do a whole special tribute for the figure of Diego Armando Maradona that unfortunately has left this earth. But he will always be remembered forever and ever, Jean Paul. So, we want to take that minute for that. But let's talk about now wrestling, Jean Paul. How about that? Let's talk about the first match, and that is Candice LeRae going against Ember Moon. What do you think about this, Jean Paul? I feel that, this was okay. I don't like Candice LeRae's finisher, Jean Paul. I don't understand what the hell is that supposed to be. But, match-wise with Ember was pretty decent. What do you think?
Yeah, this was good. And again, this was building for War Games, which I said the build and the matches for the two War Games matches has been pretty good. The one thing though I will say is NXT usually none of the matches besides this one and the main event were really anything that was super crazy. Kushida and Thatcher was okay, but maybe start the show with that. I feel like every week they start the show with women's matches, and nothing against the women, because this match was good, but some weeks it's but then I feel like on AEW, they start the show off with maybe some more popular stars, so maybe that should be something that NXT tries to do, maybe start with a little bit more star power. Again, nothing against Ember Moon and Candice, because this was a pretty good match, but, it's one of those things where, again, you got to set up that the heels look good, because if the heels look shitty going into the pay-per-view and they're not going to win, then, what's the point? You pretty much bury the heels. So, Candice had to look good and strong here going into the pay-per-view.
Yeah, but you guys can see what Indy Hartwell was right there. So, Amber kind of dominated for most of the match. I kind of like that. Like you said, Amber's, the hair looks a little, spuffy, kind of all over the place. But the match quality was pretty decent. I don't know, like you're saying, the heels need to look good. So, I don't know what, Amber is going to be having as, their team members for what's going to be, War Games with Shotzi. It kind of gave us an idea of the, later on in the show what the other two members are going to be. But I feel that, this match was actually setting up for, what was going to happen later on. That finally, it gave us what we were looking for, because we've been saying that Toni Storm, after her return, she was all acting like babyface. and that's not something that we were looking for. But Jean-Paul, towards the end of this, Ember Moon hit the Eclipse on Indy Hartwell because Candice moved out of the way because there was distraction by those two ladies, and that's Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. So that allowed Candice to take the advantage, and she does her finisher. Is that just a kick to the neck, right? Is that what it is?
No, that's kind of like that. It's I know it's called the Wicked Stepsister she hits, but yeah, I mean she does that, and it was good, like you said with Indy Hartwell, because I actually thought she was gonna be the fourth member on this team. I didn't think they were gonna do the heel turn like we were talking about with Toni, but then we saw that, and that was the main thing I really liked from this. Turning Toni heel, okay, Candice winning. Candice looks good, but is she ever going to be NXT Women's Champ? Probably not. So these wins don't really mean much.
Yes.
But the Toni Storm turning heel was the best thing to come from this.
Something that we were looking for. Remember, Jean-Paul, something that we wanted it to happen. We were saying, what's going on with Toni? Kind of baby face. Is there any point of her? The vignettes that she had, all the video packages. So she comes out and everybody's oh, she's going to hell Amber Moon because they were still beating her up post-match. But actually, Toni Storm is the ones that make Amber Moon return to the ring because she had rolled out. So, she goes, we're going to beat your ass. And actually, Raquel, Dakota, and Candice kept beating her up, and Toni didn't do anything. She was actually clapping and supporting the whole thing. So, pretty interesting, right, Jean-Paul? I'm finally they're doing something that we've been wanting. So, it's kind of a nice swerve because, like I said, Toni, we were actually thinking that she was going to be in for Shotzi's team, and now she's actually going to be part of Candice's team. So, that's good. And I hope that that allows Toni to have an opportunity with Io Shirai later on because she has all the potential in the world, and heel is something that I never seen from Toni yet. So she has a lot of potential on that for me, Jean-Paul.
Yeah, I'm excited just to see this because it's like you said, it's a new role for her, and it fits going into War Games because I think she make a better impact, more star power for her on the heel team than the babyface team.
Yes, yeah, and you know why? Because remember we said that last week. We said that the babyfaces look really stocked up, and kind of the heels were so we're all losers. Probably we're going to lose one more time. So I think that they made a lot of sense, and they finally pulled the plug, so that's pretty good. Jean-Paul, our guys are finally back together. They're talking about Diego, so he passed away. See, right there, they're actually talking about that Legado del Fantasma, and they're saying that 2020 has been one of the best years for the Cruiserweight division because they have Santos Escobar as the face of this division, of course. No mention of Jordan Devlin, Jean-Paul. That is something that I don't know why they don't do that. Kind of just a tease, but no mention whatsoever. And then Santos Escobar, he has a message for Kurt Stallion, and he's not Matt Riddle. He's just a Stallion. And then he says that after the match, that he's just gonna be the title matches he's gonna have is gonna be forgotten because they're just gonna retain. So this Stallion guy is actually fighting on 205 Live. It's a show that I didn't know is still in existence, Jean-Paul, but it's actually there. So tell me a little bit about this promo.
Yeah, I like this. It was good. I mean, we'll see the match again. The money match, like you had mentioned, is Devlin. So to me, I don't get excited, and it's a shame. I don't get excited for any of these cruiserweight feuds because none of them felt legit or even feel legit or anything besides Swerve.
Yeah. No,
and they mentioned they're where's Swerve?
Stare down. Remember when they had that? That was cool. But other than that, completely down the toilet. Yes. So Jean-Paul is not feeling well. I don't like it. I think that WWE, they need to push more the 205 Live people in the NXT show. How will you feel about that? Because at least we'll be able to see these guys rather than be completely strangers for us.
Well, that's what I'd rather see at the start of the show. Again, maybe have the women's match be second or in the middle of the show because they always start the show with women's matches. Do like WCW, just start the show with cruiserweights. Just be hey, here they are. Here's a little bit of build. Here's something going on storyline-wise because, like you said, we haven't seen Santos Escobar and Legado del Fantasma in a couple weeks. Yes. And then now we see him and they just cut a promo and it's oh, okay.
Yeah, so exactly. So the Cruiserweight Championship, I think that doesn't feel as important in the show, and of course it's not even in the show, in the company, because like you said, hopefully Jordan Devlin brings that because he's going to have a match also, tomorrow, so that will be better. So we'll see. I would love just a tease, hey, so for you're seeing an NXT UK, at least give me something so it gives me hook. It keeps me hooked, and it kind of puts the seed. It's hey, at some point we're gonna be matching up. So see,
he could he maybe not even call him out. How Devlin is so blatant and calls out, just have Escobar be like, hey, I'm the real cruiserweight champion, and maybe just say it like that and kind of give like a look to the camera.
Yes, something. Yeah, like I said, any type of tease will be fine. So you're talking about teases, Jean Paul. We got like So right there, we have the Undisputed Era. They're coming back, and Adam Cole said, "Are we there, Jean Paul?" No, we're not dead. For the guys that Pat McAfee and the new Kings of NXT, they're saying about us, and they got this kind of promo, and they say that like everybody that has tried the Undisputed Era have failed, and especially in a match like the War Games, that is the match that the Undisputed Era put NXT on the map. Like they've been the only team that is going to be featuring all the editions of the War Games match ever since like the return that is, I think, 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So like good promo in there, and then there was supposed to be a match with Pete Dunne. So one member of the Undisputed Era was going to be the one challenging that in a ladder match, and whoever win was going to get advantage of the War Games. So pretty much it's something that they've been doing every single year, right, Jean Paul?
Yeah, they always got to have the match for who's going to be has the one-man advantage or, early on in the match at War Games, and Undisputed Era hasn't lost any of these matches, so they're like, oh, we know the odds are in our favor, this and that, and it was just like, oh, okay, but it's Pete Dunne, this is his big return to, the NXT, in North America or whatever, just normal NXT, and he's not going to lose this thing. So it's just like whoever steps up to the plate is probably going to strike out. That was Kyle O'Reilly. Again, this is his return since that great championship match with Finn Balor. But, hey, buddy, sorry, you're probably not going to win it. So, but I mean, this was still a decent promo by Undisputed Era. The only thing is they don't feel as legit. I don't know what it is. They just I don't want to say since they turned babyface, but just like when they talk and they interact, it just feels so like unnatural. Like everything that they say and do, it's being fed to them. Like, oh, go out there and do this and say this. It doesn't feel like they're a group of like friends, that are like a faction. It feels it feels like it's four random dudes put together.
For example, like two things, Paul, like you said, it kind of feels a little off, or it's just like I said, kind of like we've seen this for like already 3 years over, I think 3 years and a few months, and okay, we're kind of a little tired of this. I mean, they come back and they're baby faces, yeah, but like I think heel, they worked out a lot better. Like they will have Adam Cole to like, they will have each other out to keep their championships. But I don't know, it just feels a little like lame. And also remember, Paul, the last two editions of War Games, they actually the Undisputed Era lost those two. So like that was an inaccurate piece of information, because remember 2 years ago it was actually Ricochet, Pete Dunne, and it was the War Raiders that actually beat them. So that's one. And then
I was saying that they won the advantage match.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. If that's
not the actual War Games, the match for the advantage, yeah.
Okay, because I was just like, don't give me inaccurate information.
No, never. You know who you're talking about.
Not you. I'm not saying you. I'm saying
okay.
Adam Cole and everybody. I'm like, no. I know that.
I was gonna say, don't start a feud here, brother.
No, not a never. So like Adam Cole pretty much and Paul says like, we're gonna prove who we are, and at War Games we will show that NXT is undisputed. So yeah, cool, but like the fact that Pat McAfee wasn't quote unquote there, I don't know. I just feel that this is like cool, but at the same time, I would much rather to see maybe the heels be babyface and Undisputed Era be heels. At least for me, Jean Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I think the match will be good. You had to do something different with Undisputed Era, and I don't think Pat McAfee would be good as a babyface. So I mean, I'm fine with the roles. I just wish the Undisputed Era you don't have to be so like lame when you're a babyface. You can still be cool and be a babyface. To me, they're like lame babyfaces. Maybe they're like Randy Orton. They suffer from that. Yeah. You're only good as heel. Like babyface, just switch. We go back to heel. Talking about heels, this is the team from Candice. It was confirmed. Toni Storm is like, are you with us? Yes. So it's going to be Toni Storm, Raquel, Dakota, and of course like Candice. So it's going to be, I think now it's going to be an even matchup, like you were saying. I think that it's going to be a lot better. And this is to me the match that I'm hoping, I'm really looking forward for. What's going to be War Games, just because I'm thinking maybe the heels will get the win. Jean Paul, Black Sabbath, War Pigs. It's going to be the theme song for what is going to be War Games. So that's pretty cool. See, this is something that like you were saying that they keep pushing Kushida. We're going to talk about a little bit of Timothy Thatcher against Kushida. This was a pretty good match just because it was two submission specialists. But in the end, the guy that is portrayed as the submission specialist, Timothy Thatcher,
actually lost Jean Paul. So I don't know what to say on this. So you walk me through.
Yeah, you with Thatcher. I know he's really good, and I like him as like a wrestler. I like the look. I like how he's just kind of like reminds me like a scrappy dog kind of look. Like he looks, just like a tough guy. But they build him up as like a mid card guy who is used to get other mid card guys to main event. Like he's never going to be pushed to the main event himself. He's just going to be pushed to the top of the mid card or the middle of the mid card, and then he'll use a guy like Kushida. Okay, you get the win over me here tonight. Boop, I'm going to push you up to the main event. He has a feud with Tommaso Ciampa. Clearly, Ciampa was out here the whole match. As Thatcher starts to, get the advantage at the end of this thing, he hops up, folds up the steel chair like he's going to come in the ring and whack him. Thatcher gets distracted like an idiot. Kushida gets this submission on him. So that's how Kushida got the win. So again, it wasn't clean, but this is because Ciampa wanted the feud and Thatcher was like, no, man, I'm good. I have no beef with you. I have no problem. So now we're going to see this feud. But that goes back to my previous point. Is Thatcher going to go over in this feud? Is he going to, get that push, go from the mid-card role that I said he's into the main event? No, he's just going to push Ciampa back up to the main event, even though Ciampa's already there. Even though he's not in the main event matches, he's still main event. Yeah. Like, it's Tommaso Ciampa. You're not going to see him and be like, oh, yeah, he's a loser. No, you could put him in the title picture. Nobody would question it.
And that's a big problem. I mean, because especially this, right? Isn't he a submission specialist? And he lost and he tapped out.
Especially because he tapped out. You would think it would be something where, I don't know, it could have been anything.
Yeah, and
like it could have just been something different, like the ref was distracted, or maybe like Thatcher sent Kushida into the ref, and then he hopped up, whacked him with the steel chair or something, and then because even if let's say he would have took the steel chair to like the arm of Thatcher, and then Kushida put on the submission and he tapped, it's like okay, he just hit it with the chair, you have to sell like the impact from the chair and everything, but no, just a straight up submission and tap, like you said. When you're a submission specialist, you're supposed to know how to get out of all of them. But I mean, I guess they needed an excuse to do the feud. So we'll see. But it's going to be something like I just said. Thatcher's not going to go over, so he just looks like an idiot and stays in the mid card where I guess he's destined to be.
And that's the biggest issue because, like you said, Thatcher is just a good wrestler, but I don't know if he's meant to ever be over. And they don't want him to push him to be a main event player. So Jean Paul, let's go to the most cringy segment of the show. Like you mentioned, I want you were pretty right when you mentioned that Kevin Owens was on commentary, but it just didn't feel like he was on commentary because he didn't want to be there. He just sounded really off, not really invested into the information that it was given to us. So he got on the KO show with Leon Ruff. And he was just talking about, in the past, he's been a guest. He was a part of War Games. And then next year, I don't know what they're going to do with me. Maybe they want me to be a referee. I don't know. But every time that they ask me to be here, I'm going to be here. So he was interviewing Leon Ruff, all this situation. Hey, how do you feel about being the North American champion? Leon Ruff said, well, I got my contract on the WWE. And 7 weeks after that, I'm kind of with WWE. And now I'm actually the North American champion. So we see another side on Leon Ruff, and he's just trying to prove that he wants to defend this champion against anybody. And then you go Jean Paul, the thing that you were mentioning when it's oh, give me 3 seconds and somebody's gonna come out. So that's when the segment went really bad for me because it was it felt really cringy. It felt like nobody was in control. And then Johnny Gargano came out. That's the picture right there. But he wants to have a rematch with Leon Ruff. And then Damian Priest came out, Jean Paul. So tell me, did you like this? Because for me, this was the most boring part of the show.
Yeah, I said it earlier. The only thing that was good was, the build and stuff towards War Games for those 2 matches and the main event. Everything else on this show to me was just absolute. It wasn't good. It was shit. And this was the segment as well. The Kevin Owens, just his enthusiasm, I guess you would say, throughout this whole night, and even this segment was just awful. It made everything just feel awkward. And this segment was no different. He's like, oh yeah, if you say someone's name, just wait, they'll come out. And then he does a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then it's So, and then like 5 seconds later, then the music plays. He's like, "Oh, I guess my timing was off." And then the timing was off again with Priest, and then Priest says the same thing. They're just like, "Oh yeah, he's trying to get under Gargano's skin, and he's on Leon Ruff's side, but he's kind of also he's like, but hey, man, you never gave me my title, my rematch." So then it's like, so and then Kevin Owens was like, "Oh, if only Teddy Long was here, or some Teddy Long authority figure here on NXT." And then they all stare like awkwardly at the ramp, and it's supposed to be funny, but when the segment has been so cringy and stuff, like even a little thing like that's kind of funny isn't going to save it. And they look at the ramp. Eventually Regal comes out. He announces for War Games a triple threat match, like we said, and that'll be the excuse. Somebody, watch Priest hit the Awakening on Gargano, and then Leon Ruff somehow throws, a man 3 times his size and Damian Priest out of the ring. He covers Gargano for the 1-2-3, and Leon Ruff retains. There's my prediction for War Games.
There you go. So, how do we feel about this Leon Ruff situation is still happening? You would have thought that it was going to be like a 1 week thing, funny. Okay, maybe the jokes didn't come out the way we wanted it, but now we got to make it serious again. No, still the champ.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I hope I'm wrong, but I think they're just going to ride this joke because they're like, it's funny. You know what I mean? They're like, whatever.
Yeah, no, I just, like I said to you, I don't understand it. I don't see the point of this. And, this segment, like you said, pretty bad. Please do not bring people that are not going to be invested into this, because the show completely loses anything kind of intensity.
Yeah, that would have been like a Mauro Ranallo or Wade Barrett or whoever, like somebody other than Kevin Owens, who literally didn't. If I was Triple H or somebody, I'd be like, Vince, never put a title on Kevin Owens for the rest of his career. After tonight, I'd be like, this was pathetic.
It was really bad.
That was bad. It was just, it's almost like the way he was talking and his enthusiasm was like he's trying to have them fire him.
Maybe.
You know what it was like, and it's not even like a storyline. It's not like, oh, he's pissed off at WWE on SmackDown, like storyline wise, so he's gonna be a dick on NXT. Like, there's no, whatever, he was in the match.
We don't know
it was just
unengaged.
Because even Vic Joseph and Beth were trying to be like, oh, Kevin, like and he's like, so yeah, and then they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. At some point they gave up, and something that they already gave up is this, Jean Paul, and the Cameron Grimes, the feud with Dexter Lumis. I don't know why it's still taking place. Like you said, we have the Haunted House of Terror, all of that. We have the blindfold match last week. So but they still pushing this agenda. And like you said, these two guys. How would you feel, Jean Paul, a fatal 4-way between Gargano, Priest, Grimes, and Dexter Lumis for the North American Championship? I feel that that will be much more.
I mean, yeah, that would be better than the thing with Leon Ruff, the triple threat.
Right. So this guy, he got a match with Jake Atlas, and I mean the match quality, of course, pretty decent. Cameron Grimes is a good wrestler. Jake Atlas is a pretty good cruiserweight, so I think it's good. Cameron gets the win at the end, but then Dexter Lumis is still after him. Kind of like what the Fiend is doing to Randy Orton, but without the squeaky sound and all of that. But we got to see a picture of Cameron Grimes kind of running away from everyone, Dexter Lumis, because that's what he does.
Yeah, and of course Kevin Owens on commentary. Oh yeah, I wrestled Cameron Grimes a couple times in the past before. He's good, but I don't know about his sense of fashion with his hat. Like that's literally the enthusiasm. It's like, dude, do you need to take a nap?
It seems like you need a coffee or take a nap. One of the two.
Yeah, dude, no. I would have been better just listening to Vic Joseph call this thing Joey Styles, or just call it just by himself.
Or Big Joseph and Beth. You don't need a special guy. Like you said, what's this thing about the 3-man thing?
Especially because Wade Barrett was there in the beginning, and then they're like, dude, get out of here. And then they're probably like, Wade, he's probably left the arena. They're like, can you turn around and come back? Kevin's awful. He's like, nope, I'm on my way home. And they're like, oh, okay.
They do a good impersonation of him, Jean Paul. So pretty much, we had this thing. Also, the feud is not over yet, Jean Paul.
And speaking of this, when Cameron Grimes, I like what he said to Regal. He's like, Mr. Regal, why do you hate me? That's how I felt to Kevin Owens tonight. I was like, Kevin Owens, why do you hate me?
Yeah, why you hate us? Yeah, he goes and Regal pretty much announces that Dexter Lumis against Cameron Grimes on NXT TakeOver War Games in a strap match. So that's gonna be okay.
Again, this is another stipulation in a feud that nobody cares about because this isn't something, and that's the problem I feel with modern wrestling is there's so many feuds, but the feuds all mean nothing or they're started over nothing. It wasn't like these two guys are feuding and then they could, maybe Cameron Grimes is like, oh, I don't want to go against Loomis. And he's like, well, whoever wins this match will go against the winner of the triple threat match for the North American Championship.
Yeah.
Then maybe he's like, oh, okay, now I do want to go against Loomis because I want that shot at that belt. Or the winner of this will go against Finn Balor.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, now I want to have this match. They're fighting for nothing. And so I agree with Cameron Grimes. It's like, fuck this. Why do I want to fight this psychopath, Dexter, the serial killer? Why do I want to fight him in all these stupid gimmick matches? This is pointless for
that's
nothing.
The problem. And like you said, like the main issue is like why they keep doing this, and like you said, they always have to add a stipulation to get me excited. Quote unquote, to get me excited. Why?
Like, is this like? I feel like NXT wasn't like this before. Is this because AEW does like stupid stipulations almost every other week, and Vince is like, "Well, we gotta copy them because they're beating us," and Triple H is like, "So
we gotta change." Ever since, remember when we reported that NXT got their own writing team? Ever since, the show has been like off. It doesn't feel like the original NXT, the essence, the vibe. Like the same. Kind of like not procedures, but the same kind of storytelling is not the same anymore.
Yeah, I feel like Triple H and his team write it, and are they like, here's like the bullet points, the basic plan, and then the writing team fills in all the details, and they're like, well.
And the details are just terrible, absolutely. Yeah. So let's go jump to Rhea Ripley. She was going to announce like with current status on NXT after the title match that she lost to Rhea Ripley. Nice video package. We both hear like two sides of the story. Hey, like how this great match. Even Neo goes like, Rhea hits really hard, so like they got that spot that like she busted like with the commentary, with like the apron, and then she got to be checked out. Even they had the trainer of the girl saying like, well, this was a hard hitting match, so it reminded me of Jean Paul talking. Mm-hmm. So like that, and then he goes, well, but like this was extremely harder. So like Rhea's like, well, I lost, so like what do I do now? So she was addressing the NXT universe, and she's like, well, so I don't know what to do. They haven't called me from the main roster yet. But, like, he's like, yeah, don't get me wrong, though. He's like, I hug you because I have respect for her. That's it. So, like, yeah, kind of like you already knew that, like, she was going to, like, be involved in War Games somehow because she hasn't been called up yet for the main roster. So we get to see all the girls, like the Candice's team with, like, Dunne. So they pretty much jumped her. And they took her out. So, like, this is interesting. And then Candice is saying, we actually do things here. We get things done. So this was cool. And then they attack Rhea Ripley, Jean Paul. So that was, interesting. And we said like this, like I said, Shotzi is going to have, like, 2 star power girls in, like, I think Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley for War Games. So pretty much we're missing one more piece for this whole match. What do you think?
Yeah, I like this. I am actually going to say I hope, and I don't think Io Shirai is going to be on the pay-per-view. I hope since it's only 2 weeks away. I hope this beat down, and because she was kind of like you'd say a little bit injured or sore from the match with Rhea Ripley last week. I hope this beat down that they sell it, that she's not there for the match, because that would be a way to do like a return. Or like somebody new, give somebody else kind of that big status push, on the babyface team. But I like this just because, we didn't know who was going to be. There was rumors Rhea Ripley was going to get called up. People thought Toni Storm was going to be on the babyface team, and it would be Indy Hartwell on the heel team. But now that they did the switch, it's like, okay, Rhea Ripley's the perfect person to be on the team with Shotzi and Ember Moon. Now they just need to find that last woman. Like you said, it could be Io. Io would be the easiest choice, but I still feel like having Io on there, that's 3 former NXT women's champions. So that, definitely does stack the odds in the babyface's favor. So I would go again with, like I said, somebody else who you're maybe trying to push, figure something out. That would be cool, but we'll see what they do. But I like this. And, I'm looking forward to the match.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And like you said, the big question mark is going to be the 4th woman. That's going to be a return. That could be something. So it's interesting. Like, I like the idea.
Eva Marie.
That's fine. No. Maybe, Selena Vega, no. She's completely out of the company. So, like, we'll see what they do. But, like, it's interesting, like you said, big question mark. Especially, like you said, if Io gets the night off. It's fine. You know, the champion, like you said, doesn't need to fight all the time. Make the champion look special also, like they do in NXT UK.
Yeah, because she would just do the moonsault off the top of the cell and miss anyway. So
yeah, I mean, Jean Paul is not wrong. Like, you know, she's been missing quite a while, quite often. You know, that freaking moonsault. So now let's talk about Jean Paul. They have like this, like the storyline with like Boa and also Xia Li, and like they have the master. Like they go in a car and then they go to like a really abandoned place, right, Jean Paul? Like a you know, just an abandoned place, and like they get in and like they see this guy that looked like the Undertaker in the Ministry of Darkness.
I'm pretty sure that was actually. I think that's actually a woman because they had like the long fingernails and stuff, and like the hands didn't look like real like manly. So I'm pretty sure it's a woman underneath there, but I could be wrong. But whoever they are, they definitely had long fingernails.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I don't know. Like a masked figure, we'll just say until they're unmasked. But this masked figure, they're sitting there, and then like the old master, he put some little like black like ash mark on their hand, and they're crying. It looks like they haven't slept in weeks. I didn't even know it was Xia Li. I thought it was Xia Li's grandma at first, But so we'll see where this goes. I felt like I was watching like a kung fu movie, or like I was watching Kill Bill Volume 3 or something, like the deleted scenes. I'm like, what am I watching? This was weird, but I mean, if whoever this new master is, or like whatever, if it's, a man, a woman, whoever it is, if they're pushed legit, then okay. But if they're just revealed and then they lose to Rhea Ripley, then then you know what I mean? Then it's like, then what's the point?
That it could be Mercedes Martinez and then boom, and loses.
I don't think Mercedes Martinez has that nice looking nails. She doesn't strike me as somebody who would have nice long nails, but we'll see.
But you're right. I mean, it caused a lot of like, intrigue. Because it's just like, who could that person is? And like you said, you kind of notice it was a woman. To me, it's like the Undertaker in the Ministry of Darkness. So like, we'll see who it really is. And it's important that like NXT in that sense, at least they give you some kind of like storyline. Because like you said, this guy Boa like completely done by Raquel Gonzalez, and Xia Li completely overestimated. Like nobody knows what she does.
She was booked better. Like last year, when she first debuted, she got a couple wins. Now it's like she looks like shit, but I think like the losing thing is a storyline, obviously, but we'll see.
Exactly. And also now, like we got to see Ever Rise in the ring, for no reason. Like we thought that we were going to be fighting like Killian Dane and also Drake Maverick, but no, it's the return of these guys, Jean Paul. The Grizzly Young veterans, they're back in the NXT USA.
And can I just say quick, and then you can take us to the rest of the segment. I mean, I'll just say this now. I like the return. NXT's tag team division needed these guys. I don't think the titles are going to be taken off Lorcan and Birch anytime soon, though, just because you want to get the kings of NXT. You want to get that group over, and the easiest way to do that is to have gold on them. But how about when these guys came out and they beat up Everrise? It's like, okay, that's a good way to get these guys back at NXT. And then you get, the fucking charisma vacuum, Kevin Owens. Oh, look, it's those grizzled young guys. That's literally what he said. Oh, look, it's those grizzled young guys. Like, are you serious? Like, this is like a legit tag team. They're coming back. If this was like Mauro Ranallo, you'd be like, oh my God, like it's the grizzled young veterans. You'd be screaming. Kevin Owens, oh, look, it's those grizzled young guys.
Jean Paul Kevin Owens right there. See, like, he's like, are you doing a good job? Hell yeah, Big Joseph says. But no. It's true, though. Like you said, that is something that a few guys I was watching that online, Jean Paul, they said the believability of wrestling also depends on like the announcers. Exactly the point that you're bringing up is saying like, hey, if something that you want to like hype it up. Like,
I know you like I know you like the commentary team on Impact on Tuesdays, but that he's the same. What's his name? Is it Josh? He has no believability either. He at least has excitement, but he doesn't sound like he knows really what he's talking about.
Yes,
like to me, it's just like the only people that I really buy into the story is like Jim Ross or even like Mauro Ranallo, people who that like you can tell they're really fans of it and they really buy into it. Not people that are like, oh, we're TV announcers and we were offered this gig and it's pretty cool, so I'll stick with it. People who are actually fans.
How's that though, Jean Paul? Like this grizzled young guys.
Yeah, it's like, like he's trying to be funny, but the only people who find that funny are other shitheads like him. So
yeah, it's true though. Like I mean, and they said their names, Scott Gibson, and the other dude I really don't know the name, but like the guy that never talks. But like they did their finisher on the Ever Rise, so it's good. like you said, like is a heel team where the tag team championships are laying right now. So like this is another heel team, but at least they're gonna start feuding with like maybe Breezango, maybe like other teams. Like you said, Indu Share, we have not seen in forever from them. We have not heard where they at. Like you said, like NXT is lost in the tag team division, and a lot of places is actually really lost. You know, North American Championship is bad also.
Oh yeah, NXT. The only legit thing I feel is like Finn Balor. Like even the women's stuff is pretty good, but I wouldn't even say it feels legit.
And the problem with Finn Balor is like he got injured because like we will see maybe a meaningful feud with him, you know, a second feud after like Kyle O'Reilly, but unfortunately Balor is not, you know, 100%. So like you said, they preserve him maybe for next year. That's why they're not really hyping him up for like War Games. So we'll see what happens on that. But like Jean Paul, it's absolutely true. Like NXT has suffered a lot this year. I don't know if it is the pandemic. I don't know what it is, but NXT does not feel the way that it used to feel like a year ago. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see if like the writing team gets it together. Unfortunately, as of now, it doesn't seem that way. So, Jean-Paul, let's go to like the main event, and that was Kyle O'Reilly with Pete Dunne. Like you said, advantage for like War Games, and you know, it was pretty good match. I like how like the interactions between Pete Dunne. I like the power bomb. You like the suplex. You know, I like the power bomb onto the ladder. That was pretty cool. Like Pete Dunne, like really, you know, because they're the same size. Like, you know, they could do moves that like normally we will not see, you know, often. But like I like the power bomb onto the ladder and how they bounces. You know, like they sold for each other, so that was pretty cool. You said the superplex or the play or the suplex onto the ladder, another great spot. Kyle O'Reilly looks really good. I would much rather him like challenge Finn Balor one more time. Or even Pete Dunne against Finn Balor, that would be really cool. But, you know, we're not going to get that. But so tell me, Jean-Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like this match. Again, it was, you know, fully advantage for the War Games match. Like I said earlier, you know, Pete Dunne, I didn't see him losing this thing. And he looked really good. All the spots you mentioned, really good, really hard hitting in this match. They beat the hell out of each other. I guess Kyle O'Reilly's feeling good. He's feeling a lot better because I didn't think this match was going to be so hard hitting. But then when they were like, oh, yeah, it's a ladder match, I'm like, oh, yeah, ladder match is usually pretty brutal. And this one definitely delivered in that aspect. I like, you know, another spot in the beginning, like the dragon screw leg whip into the end of the ladder when when Pete Dunne was trying to climb it. You know, this was really good. And at the end of this thing, like you said, he power bombed and boom right into the ladder. You know, that was draped in the corner, and Kyle O'Reilly's trying to climb the ladder. And then somebody comes out, you know, they have that same like Cobra Commander, like fucking silver mask on, and they come running down.
Right now.
Yeah. And then they're just like, who, you know, and of course, Vic Joseph, like the biggest freaking idiot in the world. Oh my God, who is this? Who could this be? You know, I wonder who it is. You know, is it Scream? Oh no, we saw them in the van with Johnny Gargano. It's not Scream. Who is it? Comes down. Obviously, it's Pat McAfee. Pushes, you know, Kyle O'Reilly's ladder. So he's done. Yeah, so. And then Pete Dunne, you know, he's able to climb the ladder and, you know, grab the contract. So then the heels have the advantage for War Games, which is the right choice because they're going to lose. You know, so you're going to want to set up the baby faces that looks like they have the disadvantage. So then, okay, they can make the big comeback and and they win an Undisputed Era. Okay, legit. But, I mean, this looks good. This is good for Pete Dunne. And I would love to see that feud as well. Like you said, maybe some point down the line we see Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor. I think that would be great. So. I mean, we'll see. I mean, even if they do Kushida versus Finn Balor as well, I think that would be another good feud. But, I mean, this is, you know, that was the main event, and it was probably the best thing on this show. It didn't have much competition.
It did not. Absolutely. And Jean-Paul, I like how he did the bitter end, you know, onto
the barricade, yeah.
Actually, the only thing, right, is your finisher. So, like, if they does that onto you, shouldn't you just be done?
Oh yeah, because he hit that. He goes into the ring, sets up a ladder. He starts climbing it, and then Kyle O'Reilly's already back in the ring.
Well, right,
okay. I gotta give credit where credit's due. This is the only good thing Kevin Owens said on the show. After he did that and he started to push the ladder, he's like, I can't believe Kyle O'Reilly's up already.
There you go.
There you go. That was the only good thing he said already.
We're all following the match how we're supposed to be, right, Jean Paul? Like I'm like, really? I'm like, because not even Kyle O'Reilly, he was already like tipping off the ladder. I'm like, really? He's your freaking finisher. And then when like Kyle O'Reilly did a move onto Pete Dunne, he's like, okay, Kyle, it's good. You know, just go. Like that's what Kevin Owens said. So that's the only thing, the criticism that I have. But like you said, in the end, good winner, because advantage means when you get healed, you get the advantage. You mean you're gonna lose because the Undisputed Era is just the Undisputed Era. So like it's just the biggest team or staple in the WWE and especially on NXT. And that was this show, Jean Paul. That was our review of it. But of course, we're going to be covering, War Games, and next week is going to be the Go Home show for that. So it's probably going to be another gimmick match or stipulation match for like the girls. They could easily do the same concept. Who's going to get the advantage on the women's side. So we'll see what happens on that, Jean Paul. So thank you, family. So remind everybody, please, Jean Paul, where they can find us in the social media world.
Or you can find us on Rope Break on Facebook, the OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and of course right here on YouTube for the #1 podcast in the YouTube wrestling community, the Original Rope Break.
That's right, family. So don't forget, tomorrow AEW with Jean Paul, NXT UK with me and Jean Paul. We'll be talking about all of that, hyping up SmackDown. We have more content for you guys. Thank you so very much for the love and the subscriptions, and also don't forget, hit that bell for every single notification. Jean Paul, you and me have one more thing that is left to say, and that is
yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.